Hello, what's your name, job title, and where do you work?
My name's Ian Harrison, so I'm a senior research fellow at UCL, so at UCL's Centre for Advanced Biomedical Imaging.
Hello, Ian. Tell us about your research.
I work on the glymphatic system at the moment, so I look at the glymphatic system of protein clearance from the brain and how it's involved in clearing extracellular solutes. And in my research, I'm interested in tau and alpha-synuclein and how this system could possibly be used as a kind of therapeutic response in Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease.
And what's exciting in your field at the moment? Well, you're presenting here at the conference. What are you presenting on?
So I'm presenting some new data that we've literally just finished in the lab in the last couple of weeks, and we've in our data we've shown that when we inhibit the glymphatic system, we see that tau starts to build up in an animal model of tau propagation. So we think that we're pretty confident that this system is involved in clearance of tau from the brain that's involved in its propagation and spread throughout the brain. So we're quite excited about the results. So the next set of experiments for us is to speed up the glymphatic system to see if we can reverse this process. So if we can increase the amount of tau that's being cleared from the brain to kind of reverse the propagation of tau in Alzheimer's. Thank you, Ian.
And tell us about a time when you've overcome a challenge in your research and how.
Oh gosh, there've been quite a few, to be honest. So I started my fellowship in November 2019, and so I was just in the process of buying my first bits of equipment and recruiting my postdoc, and then the pandemic happened. So it's been quite a struggle to kind of set up your own lab group at the start of a pandemic. But I'm glad to say that now things are pretty much up and running in the lab. We've got all of our equipment. The mouse colonies are up and running now. So I'm not really sure if I can say how we overcame it, but I think everyone is in that same boat and has had to overcome it at the same time.
That's brilliant. And what mice, just out of interest, what mice are you using?
So we're using two different colonies. We've got a P301S colony of tau, and we've got an M83 model of alpha-synuclein propagation. So both of which require kind of establishing these big colonies, which is a bit of a logistical and administrative nightmare to move mice around whilst there's a pandemic on.
I suppose, looking on the bright side, it could have been worse. You could have just established those colonies as the pandemic started. I've heard so many stories of months of preparation work having gone to waste, sadly, because of the pandemic. And last question of all, we're coming towards the end of the ECR day today here at the ARUK conference. Can you tell us about a highlight and a particular takeaway from what you've seen so far?
Yep, so I've just come from the playing to your strengths, the playing to your strengths session, and it was great. It kind of made you think about, prioritizing the different aspects of your job and figuring out how much of your time you spend playing to your different strengths throughout your daily life to see whether or not, if it is time to think about a career move, or if you're being fulfilled in what you're doing. It was quite nice to see, to hear that stuff being talked about in a different way, rather than just here are lots of different other careers that are outside of academia. So it's been quite interesting so far. But yeah.
That wasn't aimed at you, though. You know that, don't you? That was aimed at PhD students who can't find a job in science. You can't go leaving. You've got your own lab now. You're stuck.
The sessions at the beginning were quite interesting because they were saying, what do you think you're good at? What do people approach you for help on? And it's interesting because it makes you think. Am I? I know I love my job, and I know I hope that I'm quite good at it. But there are aspects of things that I'm not so great at my job. Do I need to be putting my focus in different areas? Do I need to, how can I, do extra bits and bobs outside of what I'm doing in the lab to kind of increase skill sets in other areas?
And great to have the luxury and freedoms maybe now at the stage you're at to be able to explore things that interest you rather than interest your boss.
True, exactly. But yeah, saying that, I'm at that scary moment when I'm about to apply for more money, so we'll never know.
Good luck with that, Ian, and thank you very much for joining us.